Hi, my name is Nico Ramirez and I'm here today with George Patrick, and today we'll be showing you guys what information is needed for Always Fresh projects and how to properly fill out our survey forms. You can either fill these surveys out by printing and using pen and paper, or you can fill it out digitally with a tablet. For either of these options, please make sure that all writing is clear and legible. For our store today, we will be using a model store at CFA headquarters as our location. Your store may vary, however, the same methods for what we are measuring should be the same for almost all CFA locations. If you have a store that diverges drastically from the surveys provided, please reach out to your CFX project manager for updated surveys. Hi, my name is Nico Ramirez and I'm here with George Patrick, and in this video we'll be showing you guys how to take measurements of the front serving counter for our Always Fresh forms. So we're going to start with the front counter panels, and what we're going to need is the width and height of the panels. So in this video we're going to show you guys how to measure with a 16-foot tape measure, just to show you how to give measurements when you have a smaller tape measure. Normally you're going to want a 50-foot tape measure. So let's go ahead and get the width. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure to a seam in the panel and then add that measurement to the remaining length of the panel. So I'm going to measure here, and this panel is 146 1/4. So now let's measure the remaining. And the remaining length is 74 1/4. So now that we have that, I can go measure 146 1/4 plus 74 1/4, and we come out with 220 1/2. So now that I have that number, I'm going to go ahead and write that down on my form. Okay, so now that we've gotten the width of the panels, now we need our height. Now keep in mind that when we ask for the height of the panels, we're asking for the distance from the bottom of the turn down to the bottom of the panel. So let's measure that now. So looks like our panel height is 27 1/8, so I'm going to go jot that down now. Okay, so now that we're doing the front panels, we're going to move on to our end panel. Now, since we already took the height of our front panels, this should be the same over here. So for here, we should just need to do the width. So let's get that. Now, keep in mind, when we're measuring the width, we do not want to include this front panel. We only want to be measuring to the line of that edge. So here we have 31 1/4, so I'll write that down in my survey now. Okay, so now that we've gotten our end panel dimensions, next we're going to get our countertop dimensions. Now the first two dimensions we're going to get is the length and the width. So this is a pretty long measurement, so we're going to break it up into two, and I'm going to have George help me out. So George is taking that tape measure down there, and I'm making sure that he is pressing his tape measure against the wall. We don't want to include the side splash on the measurement. We want to be all the way to the wall, and we want to be on the employee side edge. So right now, this is 16 feet right here. So I'm going to take my marker. I'm going to mark that. Okay. Now George is going to bring me the tape measure. All right. And so now I'm going to take this remaining measurement right here. And there we got 29 3/8. So let's add that up. So 16 foot plus 29 3/8 equals, so 221 3/8. So now we're going to jot that down. 3/8. Okay. So now that we got that, we're going to go ahead and get the depth of the countertop. Now for the serving counter, the standard depth is 34 inches, but always measure your counter just to be sure. So this is 34 inches. All right, let's drop that down. 34 inches. Okay, so now that we have our countertop length and our countertop depth, the next thing we need to measure is the center of the drink towers. Okay, so now that we have the length and the depth of a countertop, the next thing we're going to want to get is the center of our drink tower cutouts. Now, a quick note is that these monitors also have cutouts for them. However, these monitors are spaced a standard measurement from the drink tower cutout itself. So we wouldn't have to worry about those in this case, but let's go ahead and get this measurement. Now, to get this measurement, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the edge of this counter, not including the side splash, to the center of this drink tower. Now, even if there was no wall here, say if I was doing just the edge of the countertop, you still want to get it to the edge of the countertop to the center. So, now that we have that, it looks like my drink tower is 38 inches to the center, and that process would be repeated for however many drink towers you have going down your counter. You would simply measure from the leftmost edge to the center of the drink tower. Okay, so now that we've gotten our width and depth in the center of our drink towers, the last piece of information we need is the turn down heights. Now keep in mind that these heights are different for the customer side and the employee side. So let's go ahead and measure the customer side. All right, so this thickness right here is 1.5 inches. Now let's jump over to the employee side and see how high that is. Okay, so now we're on the employee side, and here you can actually see the transition between the height of the customer side and the height of the employee side. Now, let's go ahead and give that a quick measure. Okay, so right now this height is measuring at 1 inch. So now that we know these two heights, we can go and jot that down in our survey. But also a quick note is that these heights may be different depending on your store, so it's always best to check it. Okay, so there you have it. We got all of the dimensions for our serving counter. So we'll end this video here, and in the next video, we'll move on to a different location in the store. Hi, I'm Nico Ramirez, and for this video, we're going to be talking about the survey for the manager station. So for this survey, we'll need the front panel dimensions, the side panel dimension, and the countertop. Now for how to get those dimensions, I'd reference you to the serving counter video we made a little bit ago. But for here, what we have unique is the safe doors. So you have two safe doors here. Sometimes your safe door will have a metal toe kick at the bottom, but for these doors, what we want to get is the width and the height, excluding that toe kick. So let's go ahead and measure. All right, so we got 13 3/4 for the width, and then we got 30 7/8 for our height. So typically these doors will be the same size, but you always want to measure both doors just to be safe. Hi, my name is Nico Ramirez, and for this video, we're going to be talking about manager screens. So currently, our standard manager screen is a square leg, either on the left or the right side. And the store that you have, it may have a 45-degree cut on one end, but those are currently being phased out. So right now, the standard is either square leg on the left or the right. Anything outside of that, we'd consider a custom screen, which have a bit of a different process to it. Hi, my name is Nico Ramirez, and for this video we'll be going over our panel and door survey. So this is on the back line of stores, and we're going to start with the end panel. So for both of these, we're going to need our width and our height. So our width is just going to be from end to end. So we'll measure this panel. This is 29 inches, okay? And so now for our height, what we're going to do is we're going to measure from the bottom of the turn down to the bottom of the panel. Now, when you give us this measurement, we're going to add a half of an inch to this measurement so that this will be beneath the turn down, or the countertop, inside the turn down. So let's go ahead and measure that. All right, and we got 29 there. So what we're going to put in our survey is 29 by 29. So now that we've done that, let's go over and measure our door. So now doors are going to work the same way. You're going to open it up, and you're going to measure the width of the door here, and you're going to measure the height. So for this door, we have 18 7/8 by 28 3/4. So I'm going to put that information in now. Okay, so we're essentially going to repeat that process for all doors and end panels going down our back line. For your store, you might have 4 or 5, you might have 10, it varies. But just make sure that you're taking the measurements the same way I just showed you and filling out your survey. And some of your stores might have these triangle end panels. So I've already measured this one. This one was 28 by 28, which a lot of them are, but of course you have to measure yours. And you're essentially going to want to measure from the flat end all the way to the tip, and then same on that side as well. Hi, my name is Nico Ramirez, and in this video we'll be going over how to get the field dimensions for your backline counter for the Always Fresh project. So we're going to need a few different things. We're going to start off with the length of the counter, then we'll need the depth of the counter. After that, we'll need the center dimension of your sink opening and your trash can opening. And finally, if your countertop butts into your pass-through top, more than likely you'll have a notch on that end, and we'll need the distance of the notch and how wide that notch is. So let's just go ahead and start with the length. So for the length, I'm just going to measure it from end to end. All right, and here we have 104.5. All right, so you can jot that down, and then after you got that all jotted down, you check the depth. Now most of these back lines are 30 inches deep, but of course you always want to measure yours just to make sure. All right, we have 30 inches here. Same thing with our turn down heights. These are typically 1.5 inches for the back line all the way around, but if yours is not, of course, please measure it and let us know. So now that we have the width, the length, the depth, turn down height, next we're going to measure our openings. So we're just measuring to the center. This one is 11.5 on center, and this trash can opening here is 27.5. So after you got all those dimensions, you should have all that you need to properly fill out your survey and have your countertop coming back to you. Hey, so for this video, we're going to be showing you guys how to get our field dimensions for the drive-through counter. There's going to be a few different things we need. So we'll need the depth of the counter. We'll go ahead and need the length of it. We'll need from the wall to the center of where this drink tower is. And we'll need to where the center of this raised grommet is. So let's go ahead and start with the length, and I'm going to have George help me out for this one. All right. So the length of this counter is 108. Thank you, George. All right, now let's go ahead and get the depth. Our depth is 31. Next, we'll get the drink tower center. So here we have 36 to the center of the drink tower. And then lastly, we need our raised grommet. Now keep in mind, you can measure from either end of the counter, but if you measure from that end, we don't want to include the side splash. We want to measure from the wall. So for this counter, it's just going to be easier for us to do it from the edge of the counter. So let's go ahead and do that. So, and that's 23.5. So just fill out your survey forms with those dimensions and you should be all good.